The appearance of the three lines in Parzuf, Yisrael Sava Atvuna. 33. Now let us explain in detail the order in which the three lines appear in one step, and by it you will be able to judge the other steps. Take for example the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, which represents the seven lower spirit of Bina. For the first three spirit Bina Ari Anpin found correction in the highest Abe Ve'im, and the seven lower spirit Bina Ari Anpin found correction in Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna. So first came the right line. Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, representing the Keter and the Hakma of Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna. And she found correction during the ascent of Malhut, Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvan to Bina, Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvan, and completed the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvan below Hakma. Bina along with Tifereth and Malhut, Partzufa, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna fell down to the step of Zir Anpin, as already discussed in N. 21, and these two vessels, the Keter and the Hakma, which remained on the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, became the right line, as already mentioned. And since there is nothing there but the two vessels, Keter and Hakma, they have nothing but the two lights of Nefesh, Ruah, and they lack the lights arising from the first three Sfirat, which is mentioned above, in page 26, see what it is written there. 34. And then the left line appeared, representing the three vessels, Binu along with Tifereth and Malhut, Partzufa, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, after they had risen again from the place of their fall. And she found correction through the glow of Hakma and Bina, peace, Adam Kadmon, bringing Malhut Hamesamet, i.e., completing the glow, out of the Bina, Partzuf, of Yisrael Sava Yutvan and returning it to its place, for in doing so the Bina, together with Tifereth and Malhut, Partzufa, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna rise again to their step, as already discussed in N. 21. And since all five vessels were formed in the Partzuf, all, light, Nefesh, Ruah, Neshama, Heya, and Yaida, and in so doing, they become the left line of the Partzuf of Yisrael Sava Yutvan, as written above, in N. 29. And with the appearance of the left line there is a rivalry between the right and left line, for the right line wants to destroy the left and establish sole authority, and the left line also wants to destroy the right and establish sole authority, as written above, in N. 31. And therefore neither of them can shine until the correction of the middle line, uniting them. 35. And then the middle line appears, and it appears thanks to Masa of the step of the inferior in relation to Parzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, rising to Parzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna 4, ascension, Ma'in Nukvin, i.e., women's waters, which means prayer, as written above, in N. 32, and representing Zir Anpin, who ascended to Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yutvan along with the three vessels, Bina, Tifereth, and Malhut, when they again ascended to their step, as written above in N. 31, for the level of light appearing in accordance with this Masak, causes the right and the left lines, which are in Partzuf, Yisrael Sava Yudvuna, to join together, but the right line shall shine from top to bottom, and the left line shall shine from bottom to top, and then the light home is clothed in the garment of the light of Hasidim and can shine, and the light of Hasidim joins to the Chokmah's luminosity and is a complement to the first three Sphirot. So you have it coming out that before the middle line came into existence, the right and left lines competed with each other and wanted to destroy each other, because the right line, being the source, literally, the root of the step and not having undergone damage, wants to destroy the power of the left line and subdue it, which is like the relation of the root to growing out of the branch. And the left line, gaining strength in the light of home, which is stronger than the light of Hasidim, which is in the right line, as written above in N30, possesses therefore his power great enough to destroy the light of Chasidim in the right line, and therefore neither could shine, because the light of home cannot shine without a garment of the light of Hasidim, and the light of Hasidim without the glow of Chokmah is Vav Savat, literally, the six ends, i.e., the six Sphirot Zir and Pina, without the Rosh. 36. And the reason that the light of Chokmah cannot shine without the light of Hasidim is because that it speaks of Partzef, Yisrael Sava Yudvuna, which represents the seven lower Sphirot Bina, i.e. Hezd, Vura, Tifereth, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malhut Bina. And these Hezd, Vura, Tifereth, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malhut Bina are not Bina proper, but come from the joining of Zir Anpin to Bina, as all 10 Sphirot are joined to each other. And in each Sphira there are 10 Sphirot. For example, Sphirot Habana consists of all 10 Sphirot, Keter, Chokmah, Bina, Tifereth, and Malhut, and Bina, which is enclosed in it, is its own step, and Keter and Chokmah, encapsulated in her, are derived from Keter and Chokmah, who have joined her. And Tifereth and Malhut, representing her Hezd, Vura, Tifereth, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malhut, are derived from the joining of Zir Anpin and Nukva. And it is known that the Sphirot Zir Anpin, originating from the source in the 10 Sphirot of direct light, is mainly the light of Hasidim, and the light of Chokmah shines only in his light, Hasidim, which is stated in the doctrine of the 10 Sphirot, Part 1, Chapter 1, N. None, see what it says there. And therefore it cannot be so in any of the 7 lower Sphirot. Chokmah, light, shines without light, Hasidim, for then they would lack the basic supporting of the light of Chokmah, that is, the light of Hasidim. The light, Hasidim, which is the basis of the essence of Zir Anpin 10 Sphirot of direct light, and Zir Anpin of the 10 Sphirot of direct light, is the source of the 7 of the lower Sphirot contained in each stage. And hence the law follows, only in the light of the 3 of the first Sphirot, Chokmah can shine without Hasidim. And as for the 7 lower Sphirot, then, since, wherever they are a stage of Zir Anpin, the light of Chokmah cannot shine without the light of Hasidim, for the light of Hasidim is the basis of their essence. And therefore, if light, home lacks light, Hasidim, then it is darkness but not light. 37. However, due to the high level of light, Hakma that the left line acquires, it by no means surrenders or connects with the light, Hasidim contained in the right line, but moreover, it fights it and desires to destroy it, as has already been said. And it obeys the right line only because of two forces arising from the middle line, affecting, 1. It is the Masak of Bina Aleph, which is in the middle line, representing the Masak of Zir Anpin, for this Masak reduces the level of the light, home, which is in the left line and arising from the step of the first three spirit, light, Hakma, to the level of Vav. Tzavat, i.e. the sixth spirit of Zir Anpin of the light, Hakma, i.e. to a state where the light, Hakma does not spread to shine from top to bottom, but that he shines from bottom to top, since this glow is considered as only one level of Vav Tzavat, light, Hakma. 2. This is the Zivug of the highest light, accomplished with this Masak Bina Aleph, attracting some level of light Hasidim. And then, after, on the one hand, decreasing the level of light, home, which is in the left line, to Vav Tzavat, light, home, which was due to Masa, and on the other hand, increased light, Hasidim, illuminating the left line, from two sides, from the side of the right line and from the side of the Zivug of the highest light with Masa being in the middle line, that is when obeys the left line and connects with the light of Hasidim, who is in the middle line. See also in the Book of Zohar, for the weekly reading, Emer, in commentary, Sulam to page 197. But as long as the Masak in the middle line does not reduce the level of the first three spirit, light, Hakma, there is no power in the world that can unite the left line with the right. See also, in the Book of Zohar on the weekly reading, Bereshit, volume 1, page 60, beginning with the word rivalry. 38. And it must be known that two forces are acting on this Masa of the middle line, so that the level of the first three spirit, light, Hakm, which is in the left line. For it was explained above, in N22, that Zir Anpin and Nukva are incapable of obtaining Mohin on their own, because the ruling Malhut of the attribute of judgment over them, because the power of Tzimtzum causes her to refrain from receiving the home's glow. And this Malhut of the attribute of judgment we call Manola, i.e., the lock, as written in the preface to the Book of Zohar, and point 44, page 59, in commentary, Sulam, beginning with the word within. But subsequently, this Malhut is united with the attribute of mercy, i.e., Bina. As far as Malhut united with Bina, they are fit to receive Mohin, i.e., the light of home. And this Malhut united with Bina, we call Mafteya, i.e., the key, as discussed in the preface to the Book of Zohar, and point 42, page 57, in commentary, Sulam, beginning with the word this. Therefore, Masa Zir Anpin, which is the middle line, is also inherent in these two powers, the lock and the key. For first, when he is to reduce the first three spirit of the left line, he does so by masa of the lock, i.e., by means of the Malhut attribute of judgment, for from wherever it is revealed, the supreme light, it is written about this in the book of the Zohar on the weekly reading, Veites, Sulam commentary, to page 23, page 13, beginning with the word mystery. But due to the fact that he wants to leave Vav Savat, i.e., the sixth spirit of Zir Anpin of light, Hakma, he then hides this Masak of the lock and acts with the Masak of the key, i.e. Malhut united with Bina, and because of it remains at least Vav Savat, light, Hakma. See also in the book of Zohar on the weekly reading of Lek, Sulam commentary, to page 22, page 13, beginning with the words, and it is explained. And so it is carefully explained how Zir Anpin ascends with Bina, Tifereth, and Malhut, the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvan to the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvan, and through his Masak he unites and perfects the two lines, the right and the left, which are on the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvan, and forms there the middle line. And these three lines, which are on the stage of Yisrael Sava Yutvan, are called Hakma, Bina, and Da'at, step of Yisrael Sava Yutvana. For the two lines, the right and the left, are called Hakma and Bina, and Zir Anpin, which is the middle line that reconciles them, is called Da'at. Column, Shurik, Hirik. 39. And these three lines are also called the three Nikudat, i.e., the voices, literally, dots, Holam, Shurik, Hirik. For the right line is, in fact, Nikudat HaHolam. And the left line is, in essence, Nikudat HaShurik, that is, Melafim, which is the letter, Vav, inside of which depicts a dot. And the middle line is, in fact, Nikudat HaHirik. And the reason for this is that the Nikudat point to the glow of Hakm, by which they animate and voice Odiot, i.e., the letters of the Hebrew language, which are vessels. And so the right line, acquiring correction during the raising of Malhut to Bina, since it lacks the light of Hakma, as stated above, in 30, is called Nekudat HaHolam, because it is customary to put it over Odiot, and this indicates that this Nekuda, which represents the glow of Hakma, is not clothed in the vessels, i.e., Oidiot, but is above the vessels. And the left line receiving correction from Bina along with Tifereth and Malhut, after they have returned to their stage, for the reason that they gain power in them. The light of Hakma, as stated above, in N30, is denoted by Nekudat HaShurik, which is the letter Vav, inside of which there is a dot, because it indicates that this Nekuda, which represents luminescence, Hakma, is clothed inside the vessels called Odiot. And the middle line, acquiring rectification on the stage below it, which has ascended to the highest stage and has subdued, and also brought to perfection her two lines, as stated above, in Paras. 32 and 35, for without the middle line the light of Hakma could not shine, as stated there, and by virtue of the fact that this correction it acquires from the step below it, the middle line, is denoted by Nekudat Hahirik, which is under the odiot, which represent the vessels. For it is the step that is beneath it. And so we always refer to the masa of the middle line by the name masa dahirik, see also about. All this in Sulam's commentary to the book of the Zohar on the weekly reading, Bereshit, Volume 1. N.9, pages 15 to 17. The middle line is above the two other lines. 40. There is indeed a step of the middle line where it is above the two other lines, namely, in the three reshin, plural of the Aramaic word resha, meaning the same as in Hebrew rosh, i.e., the head, of Da'adik, i.e., parts of Attic, with Haresha de lo ityeda, i.e., the unknowable rosh, subordinates and unites the two lines, the right and the left, representing the two reshin kitra. The same in Aramaic as in Hebrew keter, i.e., the crown, and Hakma Stima, Aramaic for hidden wisdom. Partsufa, Ari Anpin below it, as it is written in the book of the Zohar on the weekly reading of Ha'azinu, section, Idra Zuda, page 15, beginning with the words, and there is also another explanation, and page 27, beginning with explanation. But they are acquiring correction by becoming a stage of the source of the three lines, in all cases where three lines are formed, except this middle line comes from below, as already explained. So you have it coming out that there are three stages of line correction. 1. Correction of lines in three reshin da'atika, when the middle line is above the other two other lines, as already mentioned. 2. This correction of lines, occurring in the first three Sfirat, in which even in the left line there is no revealing, light, home, as discussed above in N26. 3. It is the correction of the lines that takes place in the seven lower Sfirat, in which there is a revealing, light, Hakma in the left line, as already discussed in Paras 27 to 39, cf. Publication 16th, 17th, beginning and end, and 18th. 3 kinds of Homat in the world of Asalat. 41. 3 Hakmat are found in the world of Asalat. 1. It is the Homat in the 10 Sfirat of direct light, which in the Partsefs is the hidden Hakma of the Arianpan. 2. It represents the first 3 Sfirat of the Bina, and in the Partsefs is the Aba V'ima, and it is called the Hakma of the right line. 3. It represents the 7 lower Sfirat Bina, and in the Partsufa is Yisrael Sava Yudvuna, and it is called the Hakma of the left line. And the first 2 Hakmat are hidden and do not shine to the lower ones, and only the third Homat, that is, the Homat of the left line, is revealed in the place of Malhut, and it is she who shines upon Zir Anpin and Nukva and the lower ones. 42. For you already know that the Ari Anpin is the Hakma of the world of Asalat, and Aba V'ma is the 3 first Sfirat Bina of the world of Asalat, and Yisrael Sava Yudvuna is the 7 lower Sfirat Bina world Atzilut. And it is known that in Rosh Ari Anpin there is nothing but the two-spirit, Keter and Chokmah, called, in Aramaic, Kitra Humastaima, i.e., the Keter and the hidden Chokmah, and his Bina went beyond his Rosh and became a step of Guf without Rosh, i.e., since Malhut Masamet, i.e., completing luminescence, went up and completed the Rosh below his Chokmah, for this reason, the Bina along with Tifereth and Malhut are already below Malhut Mesamet, who is in Rosh, as it is written above, in N. 33, then she becomes a step of Guf. And all of these stages, Bina along with Tifereth and Malhut, are called by the name of the highest stage enclosed in them, i.e., Bina. Since she has left the Rosh and has become a step of Guf without the Rosh, she is no longer fit to receive the light of Chokmah until she returns to the Rosh Ari Anpin. 43. And this Bina is divided into two steps, the first 3 and the bottom 7 Sfirat. And this is because the damage from the lack of light, Chokmah, which is done to her when she leaves Rosh Ari Anpin, does not at all concerns the first 3 Sfirat of the Bina, which is always consistent with the meaning of the verse, Ki haftetz heized, 4. He desires the good of Micah, 7:18, i.e., he desires the good of others and desires nothing for himself, since Bina desires only the light of Hasidim, not the light of Chokmah, and even when her first 3 Sfirat were in Rosh Ari Anpin they received not the light of Chokmah, but only one light of Hasidim. And this light is attracted to her from the Bina of the direct light, for her entire essence is the light of Hasidim. Without the light of Chokmah, as it is written in the introduction to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, N. 5. And so the first 3 Sfirat Binas are not harmed in any way by their going beyond the Rosh, and they are considered to have all the same inherent perfection as it was when they were still in Rosh Ari Anpin, and therefore the first 3 Sfirat separated and formed a stage of their own, and from them the higher Aba Vma, which encompass that which is from Pa'ari Anpin and below, and are considered to be the 3 first Sfirat, although they are below Rosh Ari Anpin. But the essence of the 7 lower Sfirat Bina does not derive from the essence of Bina, but from the joining of Zir Anpin and Nukva to Bina, as said above, in 26. For the basis of the essence of Zir Anpin is the glow of Hom in, the light of Hasidim, as written in the introduction to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, and point 5, therefore they need the glow of Chokmah in order to endow the Zir Anpin and the Nukva, and since during the time of going beyond Rosh Ari Anpin they are unfit to receive the light of Chokmah for Zir Anpin and Nukva, it is considered that they are harmed, and so they were separated from the first 3 Sfirat Bina, which are inherently perfection, and became a separate, independent stage, and from them the parts of Yisrael Sava Yudvuna, of the world, Atzilut, who clothed that which is from Hayes Ari Anpin and below. For they represent the stage of Vav Sabat without Rosh, until Bina returns to Rosh Ari Anpin, and then they will gain the first 3 Sfirat. 44. Here you see that the main part of the Chokmah is in Rosh Arik Anpin. It is what called the hidden Chokmah, for this original Chokmah, of the world of Atzilut, is hidden in Rosh Ari Anpin and does not shine to the inferior ones below Rosh Ari Anpin. And Aba Vime and Yisrael Sava Yutvuna are the original Bina, of the world, of Atzilut, called the level of Sagdima, and their basis is the light of Hasidim, not Hakma. And when the Bina goes beyond Rosh Ari Anpin, only the damage only to the 7 lower spirit of Bina, which are Partzef, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, which are left with the missing first 3 spirit because of this. And they acquire perfection only when Bina returns to Rosh Ari Anpin, for in doing so she receives the light of Hakm for the sake of Zir Anpin and Nukva. And then they are considered Hakma of the left line. It is meant that this Hakma is only revealed by the 3 lines appearing in Partzef, Yisrael Sava Yutvan, 4. In the left line, which is in the midst of these 3 lines, the Hakma is revealed, as discussed above, in N 34, see what it says. But although both the first 3 and the bottom 7 spirit of Bina, representing Abu Vime and Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, return to Rosh Ari Anpin, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna do not receive the light of Hakma directly from the hidden Hakma that is Rosh Arik Anpin, because each stage receives only from the higher stage adjacent to her. And the Aba Vime receive the light of Hakma from the hidden Hakma located in Rosh Ari Anpin, and endow the Parzuf with Yisrael Sava Yutvuna. 45. And Aba Vime are considered Hakma of the right line, because even when they are below Rosh, they are inherently perfect just as they were in the Rosh, and they always stand out from all vessels that are below Rosh, and are associated with the hidden Hakma that is in Rosh Ari Anpin. But they do not receive from it, in fact, always being a step of Ki Hafez Hayim Hu, for he desires the good of Micah 7:18, i.e. he desires the good of others and desires nothing for himself. It has already been mentioned, see also in the commentary, Sulam, to the book of Zohar on the weekly reading, Zav, page 151, and on weekly reading, Pinchas, N. 206. Here is a thorough explanation of the fact that the bulk of the Hakma is found in Rosh Arik Anpin. But it is hidden and does not shine at all below its Rosh. And as for the glow of the hidden Hakma contained in the Aba Vime, although they do not receive it at all it is considered a Hakma of the right line. And at the time of their return to Rosh, they are called the Supreme Hakma. And they are considered Hakma even though they do not receive it, because their unity with Hakma makes the light of Hasidim, which is in Aba Vima, the first 3 spirit, to which perfection is inherent. And the Hakma that shines on the step of Yisrael Sava Yutvuna is the Hakma of the left line, for it shines within it only in the left line. And this Hakma, literally, wisdom, of the left line is called the 32 Paths of Wisdom, which is written in the book Zohar on the weekly reading of Hazinu, section, Idra Zuda, page 73. And this is the Hakma that reveals itself to Zir Anpin and Nukva and the inferior ones. But the Hakma of the right line does not shine at all with the light of Hakma, but only the light of Hasidim, for the Aba do not receive the light of Hakma, as has already been said. And all the more so for the Hakma of direct light that is in the Rosh Arianpin, which does not shine below his Rosh, for this reason the Hakma is called hidden. For the luminosity of the Hakma is revealed only as the Hakma of the left line. But it is not Hakma proper, but Bina, receiving the light of Hakma for the sake of Zir Anpin and Nukva.